Two guys either side of 50 with one dream to achieve middle-aged sporting glory. This is the Missing Links Golf Show. Andy Walker, welcome back to a much anticipated episode 56 of the Missing Links Golf Show. Great to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah. It feels like it's been, 2 days?
About that. What a weekend.
Yeah, it was a great weekend. Loved it, to be honest. Really getting back into the whole championship mindset and certainly a New South Wales championship, which first one in about 30 years. Whets the appetite a little bit for next year, and the New South Wales Senior Amateur, which we have found out is in the first week of March next year at Pacific Dunes and exciting. Nelson Bay Golf Club. So looking forward to that.
That is exciting. Absolutely. We love those courses. We love Nelson Bay. Big fan of that area. Pilgrims, we are, of course, for those of you playing at home, you will absolutely be aware of this already, but for anyone else tuning in, that this is your first episode of the Missing Links Golf Show, firstly, welcome. Secondly, we are here tonight to talk about the weekend that just went past, and that was the playing of the New South Wales Country Golf Championships that both Andy Walker and my good self were participants in. It was a fantastic weekend of golf. It was 36 holes of brutal stroke play over the rolling fairways of Parks Golf Club in the Central West of New South Wales.
How good is Parks?
Love that place.
Yeah, like what I had a certain expectation of what the golf course would be like, and that is, I'd heard good things about it. There was a good country golf course, but I have to say it exceeded my expectations. I was very, very pleasantly surprised when I got there and had a look at the course, and certainly during the practice run on Friday, I was going, this is quality. It's going to be a good weekend.
It's a good golf course. There is an obscure connection between Parks and the Missing Links Golf Show, Andy Walker.
Oh, okay.
Can you guess what it is? Have you got any clues what it might be?
Oh, I think I might have a clue.
You got an inkling?
Idea. I think I heard a rumor while we're out there that potentially there could be a bit of a connection, but do tell.
I don't know that I'm going to talk about the same connection that you're thinking of.
Okay.
The connection, as a matter of fact, if you cast your mind back, I'm pretty sure that it was episode 1 of the Missing Links Golf Show, when you, in fact, may have done somewhat of a subtle Elvis impersonation.
Thank
you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And Pilgrims, Parks, of course, being home to the annual Elvis Presley Festival in January of each year. So there you go. That's a tenuous link, but a link all the same.
Yeah. No, that wasn't what I was going to say at all. But Parks is also home of the Dish.
It is.
The famous satellite.
Yep. Telescope, radio telescope, I think you call it.
Radio telescope, yeah. That's what it's called, which was made famous by a movie out there called The Dish.
The Dish.
My mother did say to me, so you're going to Parks, you're going to go see The Dish?
No.
And I went, no.
No, nowhere near it, actually. For those of you not aware, The Dish played an integral role in the moon landing, tracking the Apollo spacecraft on its way to the moon when radio telecommunications were lost for a period of time. So historic site, Parks, and certainly a worthy location for a historic tournament, being the first New South Wales Championship played by both hosts of the Missing Links Golf Show.
Yes.
Big weekend, but I think, Andy Walker, where do we even start telling the story of this weekend? I feel like maybe we start on Friday.
Yeah, there was a certain amount of randomness that happened. I mean, I got out there before you did, and I managed to sneak in 18 holes of a practice round because we'd both never played parks before. And I got to about the third hole, and a couple of guys came up behind me in carts. You know, first guy I waved through, and he just went through. The second bloke was a parks local, and was just putting off the fourth or putting on the fourth green and walking off. And he said, "Oh, why don't you join me? I can sort of show you around and give you a few pointers and the rest." So anyway, I said, "Okay, yeah, that's great." So I did, and really, really good guy, really funny guy. We had a few laughs, and he showed me a few of the little sort of tricks of the trade that were there at Parks, and yeah, so we played 9. He was only going to play 9, and then you and I joined up for the second 9.
This is true, and this illustrious Parks local will actually form quite a big part of the story as we progress over the weekend. But interestingly, whilst you're playing that first 9 and meeting our now very good friend Brownie for the first time, I was driving from Orange to Parks, which is about an hour and a quarter, roughly, which was perfect time to listen to a podcast on the drive to the course. And it's interesting because just today I was listening to our last episode, which was our build-up to the event, and in that we were having quite the conversation about the mental preparation and pilgrims. You might recall that my last competitive round, which was the previous Saturday at Wentworth, when I shot a double snowman and, on a par 69 as it was on the day, and was really quite disappointed in that round and feeling all the feels of lack of confidence and concerns about preparation and where my game may have gone. So I noticed early in the week that a good friend of the Missing Links Golf Show, Josh Nichols from the Mental Golf Show over in the US, he put a short post up on Twitter saying, "Hey, I'm recording an episode of my own podcast later this week. Any questions, hit me up." So I put
it's interesting that you say that, because I'm not familiar with Twitter.
X. So X. I still can't.
X, formerly known as Twitter.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, I just wasn't quite sure what you were talking about.
Yeah, the social media platform run by the I don't know what his role is now in the new administration.
2IC?
Yeah, I don't know, vice president or something. Anyhow, so I put a question out to Josh and I said, "Look, we are, g'day Josh, Steve and Andy here, your mates from Australia. We are playing in this big tournament this weekend. What advice have you got for us to overcome the nerves and pressure of a 36-hole stroke play event on an unfamiliar course?" Josh took that, ran with it, spent about 10 minutes answering that during the latter half of his episode, which was fantastic advice. And what he was talking about, Andy Walker, I don't know if you've had a chance to listen to it yet, but you absolutely should. What he was talking about was the old conversation that we'd had around nerves simply being reflective of something that means something to you.
Yep.
And the difference between nerves and anxiety. Obviously, anxiety when you're starting to get the physical symptoms, not just the sort of the emotional symptoms. But nerves is a superpower. Use them to your advantage. Don't shy away from it, but acknowledge that they exist. Acknowledge that you're doing something that's important, and give it a red hot go. So he talked a lot about that. Talked a lot about the unfamiliarity of the course and doing everything that you can to build familiarity with the course. Some techniques that he suggested included radical ideas like, I don't know, having a practice round the day before the tournament. So some of these sorts of things, but it was a really well thought through answer. And Josh, if you're listening, we absolutely do appreciate the advice. I know from my point of view, it definitely helped. And it was good preparation to get out of the car at the other end and then catch up with you for 9 holes around the back 9 of Parks, which I've got to agree was very, very impressive.
Yeah. I, on the other hand, rather than just having time to listen to a podcast, I actually listened to a whole audiobook.
You had a slightly longer drive,
for 5.5 hours rather than just the hour. So, yeah, my drive was slightly different to yours.
50 Shades, was it, that you're listening to?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Or not.
Very good. So so look, it was good. It was a good practice round. I think we learned a bit about the golf course at that point. We learned that the greens were fast and true. We learned that there were a lot of very big trees.
Yes.
A few nice pieces of OB that were very much in play. Certainly along the left-hand side of about 3 or 4 holes on the back nine.
Which, if the Pilgrims remember correctly, my bad shot is a snap hook, which is something that I've struggled with for a while. So a close out of bounds up the left-hand side of the fairway, not ideal.
Less than. Absolutely. What else did we learn? We learned where the toilet block was next to the 15th hole.
We did. We both had a crack at that. Not.
Yeah, Mick Patterson, you've been proud. Yeah. No, it wasn't like that at all.
With our drives we're talking about. So,
yeah. What was and the reason that's relevant, Pilgrims, is that the hole diagram that you see on the sign on the tee box indicated that it was a dogleg to the right, and up. It's a blind tee shot, kind of semi-blind tee shot up over a bit of a crest of a hill, and there's a toilet block on the right-hand side that looks like it's actually what should be the left-hand side of the fairway if it were to dogleg. However, it does not dogleg. Actually, the sign is a lie. It's a straight hole. So we both hit to the right of the toilet block and found out that was a very, very difficult place to get to the green from.
Yes, it was. But we also found out that especially the old greens at parks, they all slope towards the railway line, or they all break towards the railway line. Which, interestingly, I'd spoken to another local earlier in the day, and that local I'd said to ask the local, is there anything we need to know? Does green slope any different way, or any local knowledge? And he's going, no, all good, play as you see it. So that was quite interesting. And then during the practice round with Brownie, I said to Brownie, so this is what this other local has said. What are your thoughts on that? And very eloquently, Brownie said that, no, that is incorrect.
Doesn't sound like Brownie. I think there might have been an adjective in there as well.
Yeah. And in fact,
that is very incorrect.
Greens, all the old greens actually slope towards the railway line, because only a few years back, maybe 2 years back, parks actually had to redesign some of their holes, because there is a bypass now that goes around parks, which cut off some of the land that parks had with their golf course. So they had to redesign some of their holes. They've got a number of new greens. Was it 8 new greens they've got? Or was it 9 new greens?
Comfortably.
Yeah. So all the newer greens are quite well. They're very fast and they're very hard. And the older greens, they're a little bit slower, but they're the older greens are the ones which break towards the railway line. So it was interesting just trying to get the pace of the two different surfaces, because the new greens are all bent and very, very good and very, very true. The older greens are a mix of wintergrass and bent, and it was a little bit tricky trying to get your head around both.
Yep, that's a fact. But no, it's a spectacular spot. Really, really nice feel to the course. Good layout. Sort of a lot of trees, but still generous in parts.
I felt like there was a lot of birdie opportunities on the golf course, but there was also a lot of areas where you could just put yourself, and it was almost impossible to either get up and down or even really have a two putt. There was down on the 16th green on the first day. They had the pin at the bottom of the tier, and both the guys that I was playing with were up the back of the green, one of them was putting and the other one was chipping, and both of them chipped off the front of the green, and they didn't really miss by that much. Like they just got it to the top of the tier, and the speed of the green just took it away and off the front of the green. So yeah, it was a little bit tricky in a couple of places.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. There are a few greens like that. But a good test, definitely a good test. Probably worth mentioning as well, the scratch rating for the course for the tournament weekend was actually playing at a 73. So
yes.
It was certainly a solid test of golf. Some long holes out there. The stroke one for the course was a par 4, which was playing at approximately 430 metres. So that's about 475 yards. So that's a long
I felt
par
as though
4.
the par 5s were gettable. Well, at least a couple of the par 5s. I know 18 on the second day, I hit drive at 6 iron into it and made a birdie. So there were a couple of par 5s that were gettable, and then there were also a couple of par 4s that were just sort of drive a wedge or drive a gap wedge. So, but there were some longer holes as well as you just mentioned that the second, was it?
Yes, the second's a tough hole. Yeah, it was I think 410 metre par 4. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that was tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was playing into the wind on day 2.
It was. That was not an easy hole at all. So no, it was definitely a good course, a lot of fun. And so anyway, it was a good practice round. So I think we learned a lot on Friday afternoon. Then we packed the clubs in the car, went back, found the Airbnb, the Barley cottage,
Barley hut
in the backyard.
Yeah.
In the middle of inland New South Wales. It did strike me as odd.
Well, I had a pool and a barbecue area.
Doesn't make it Barley.
Yeah.
Really?
Were there any palm trees? I couldn't see any palm trees. I didn't really look that hard, but
I don't know. I'm not sure.
There was a tennis table. I mean, that's typical Balinese, isn't it?
Nothing says tropical island like table tennis tables. Yeah, I mean, look, it was nice. It did the job for accommodation for us.
Look, it was a lovely little villa. I felt it was did exactly the job we needed to.
It did. Didn't have much appeal to us for cooking at home though, so we did have to go out and try and find a meal. Andy Walker, what were your thoughts on that experience? Downtown Parks on a Friday night.
Well, coming back to didn't have much opportunity to cook in the villa. I mean, if it did, would we have cooked in the villa?
Not a chance.
So that, I have to say, that wasn't high on the agenda when I was looking for Airbnbs around parks. So, but look, I mean, we had a good palmy on Friday night. I mean, that pub we went to was pretty good.
Eric's. Eric's Kitchen in whatever the pub was. I don't know. I didn't pay attention. But that palmy was enormous. We could have got one and shared it.
We could have. I mean, this was, what time was it? Maybe 8:30 on a Friday night. I mean, there didn't seem to be a lot happening in country parks, but I do believe that there are a couple of the pubs that do open quite late. There was some conversation on the Saturday night with the company we were in, saying there was a couple of the pubs that may open a bit late if you want to partake in.
And I think a few of the boys did, which explained two DNFs on day 2.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was a bit of fun. But anyway, let's move on to Saturday, to round 1. So, woke up in the morning. I feel like we got a good stretch in.
Yeah, we did.
Good bacon and egg roll.
Oh, it's a great bacon egg roll.
Got down to the course nice and early. We were amongst the first to get there and start the warm-up process, which was a fantastic piece of advice, Andy Walker, because...
And it was very strategic, and because I'd played in a couple of the senior events earlier in the year, and they're generally speaking shotgun start, I've learnt my lesson that you need to actually get to the course early if you want to warm up in the practice nets. Because not many of them have practice fairways. Most of them have practice nets, but there's only usually 3, maybe 4 if you're lucky, and there were 3 practice nets at parks. But with 120 golfers teeing off at the same time and 3 practice nets, does get a little bit tight, and
little congested.
When you've got 3 or 4 people waiting and all the rest, you sort of feel a bit rushed with your warm up. So my suggestion was 12 o'clock tee off, 12 noon. We should get there at 10:30 and head straight to the practice nets. Get in a good 20, 25 minutes of bashing balls into the nets, and then head to the practice green. And I think that worked pretty well.
It was good advice. It was very good advice. I feel like we got a good loosener in early on. And then, to be perfectly honest, by the time we got to the practice green, that was quite full anyway. So
yeah, it was.
That there wasn't a huge amount of putting to be done there, but enough. And anyway, it was good. So then we had to make our way out to the various tee boxes. Which did you tee off from? Because shotgun start, you're on 13.
Yeah,
I was on 16. I was group 2 on 16. And lo and behold, Pilgrims, who should be in my group but Andy Walker's mate Brownie from the day before? What are the chances? Out of 120 golfers, what are the chances? Actually,
that was pretty funny.
The chances are quite high when you consider that the groups were all ranked according to handicap. So given that my index at that point had drifted to 9.1, Brownie was playing off a 9.4. And the third member of our group was a young guy from Orange, from Country League, as a matter of fact, who was playing off 9.7. So between the three of us, we were probably the three highest markers in the field. So
you were the high handicappers in the field.
Yeah, we were the hackers.
Yeah. Good one. How'd you feel about that?
Took the pressure off a little bit, to be perfectly honest, knowing that I was in a group with 2 other players of a similar standard. It did take the pressure off a little bit, which was probably not a bad thing. And certainly having a little bit of local knowledge, and Brownie was happy to share everything that he knew. I'm not quite sure how that goes with the rules and regulations of tournament play and helping your playing partners, but it wasn't always helpful either. It's probably worth noting.
He was a player / caddy, was he?
He was certainly giving advice on as many tee boxes as he possibly could. I think, in all honesty, it probably took me a couple of holes just to accept that there was going to be a lot of conversation, and to not let that become slightly off-putting and dominant and not allow me to concentrate. So I had to go through a little bit of a breathing process there and kind of reset, which was good. And actually, it was good. It was good in the end. We had a really good day. It was a good 3-ball. So it was good fun. Yeah,
and I must admit, being with someone like that who is not going to take the round too seriously. He's out there to enjoy himself. Yeah, he's going to try and play good golf, but at the end of the day, Brownie's the type of bloke who just wants to enjoy the round, get out there, have a chat, meet some other good blokes, and have a great time, which he does the vast majority of the time.
He certainly does. Certainly had a good time after the round as well, it appeared. But it was interesting actually how different it was to day 2. On day 2, I was playing with 3 other guys because we were then ranked on our scores from day 1 rather than on handicaps. So at this point, I was playing with 3 other guys, one who was 16, one who was 17, and one who was 30. And their respective handicaps were 6, 1, and 1.
Okay.
So that was a very different kind of an ambience, if you like.
Well, that also says something about your performance on day 1. So why don't we get into the performances?
Why don't we? So look, it was. It was interesting. I felt quite a lot of nerves early on, even though obviously knowing that I was playing in a group with sort of similar standard players, but just the vibe of the morning was so much more serious than any other game of golf that I've ever played.
Yep.
You know, and the fact that we had a rules official hovering about the place, and we had digital scoring that you knew was accessible to anyone that wanted to pay attention. And shout out to Mick Patterson. Thanks for your support throughout the weekend and following our scores all the way from Canada. That was super cool.
There was also a leaderboard that you could log into if you wanted to.
There was.
At any point during a round.
You could in fact do that. Yeah. So look, I felt like I got out okay. Like I teed off on 16, which is one of the, I think, top 3 hardest holes on the course.
Yep.
Made bogey. That was fine. And then 17 made a par. But then on 18, which was the par 5, made birdie. So got it back to even.
Nice.
Nice. You know, leaked a couple of bogeys through the start of the second 9, but through 10 holes.
But that's tough. Like
those holes
and the second, they're really tough.
They're tough. I think I went bogey on those. But then kind of pulled it together, and through 10 holes, I was 3 over par.
Okay, that's decent for first New South Wales Championship event.
I was really happy with things at that point. And to be honest, was hitting the ball as well as I've hit the ball all year. You know, really, I think the changes that I've been making with the setup on my irons, in particular with Jake, with the coach, they started to click. You know, like they hadn't felt that natural for the last couple of weeks, but they actually really started to click.
Okay, good.
And that was making a difference. And I was catching everything pretty flush. There was nothing was overly thin or fat. And even just the one session that we'd done on short game on dialing in wedges and chipping around the greens, that was actually starting to pay some dividends as well. So I think things.
So
were
at this point,
good.
were you feeling comfortable? Were you feeling like, I belong here?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Because if you go back to the last episode and previous episodes, you'll hear a lot of conversation about the imposter syndrome and being concerned about not belonging and worst case scenario, making a fool of myself in front of other people that are a field full of single digit golfers. But what was really interesting, I think, by the time I got to about this point, I was feeling like, no, this is good. I'm comfortable in this environment. I've earned the right to be here.
Yep.
That was a massive shift. So knowing that all those good things were happening and feeling a lot more positive with the round and all those sorts of things and flushing the ball quite well and chipping nicely, rolling some good putts, I thought, well, now's the time to check the leaderboard.
Of course it is.
I want to see where Andy Walker is in relation to my +3 and Pilgrims at that point in time. Through, I think your scores had only updated through about 6 holes and you were +2. And I thought, this is on. I thought, this is on.
Yep.
So I got a bit excited and I started thinking into the future. Although no, I didn't really. To be in fairness, I did catch that thought process and dealt with that quite quickly.
Yep.
But what then happened? So the 8th hole is another par 5, and this is where I was up to. The 8th hole is another par 5, and it was the one that you had told me about the previous day with trees up the left.
Yep.
Water on the right.
There's no bailout on that hole.
At driver distance. But you can't really lay back on the hole either, short of the water, because if you do that, then you've got a dog leg beyond the water with a big tree on the corner. So you kind of need to hit driver, but be far enough down on the left-hand side that you can get an angle up the fairway towards the green. So it's a bit of a tricky hole. Brownie obviously mentioned this on the tee box as well, that you need to keep left.
Yeah.
And he'd said something like, don't even worry about the fairway, aim at the trees because anything on the fairway will feed to the water. The water's on the right-hand side. So I thought, that's fine. And I lasered an absolute beauty of a drive up the left side of the fairway with a nice tight little draw.
Oh.
was just peeling back towards the center of the fairway.
Yeah.
And I hit that, and the other playing partner went, "Oh, mate, that is perfect. Great shot."
And what did Brownie say?
Brownie said, "That's wet."
Wow. And who was right?
And I turned around and I said to Brownie, "Don't be such a pessimist, for God's sake. That's a great drive."
Yeah.
And he went, "Okay."
Yeah.
So we got up there and we had a look around for my ball, and we were looking around, and lo and behold, Andy Walker, it was wet. Only just, though. It was. It had just crawled in. We managed to salvage the ball. So I took a drop, and anyway, I was quite a long way back though, unfortunately, for the drop. So then I had to go over the water around the tree up, and unfortunately made double, which was a little bit disappointing. So drifted out to 5 over. And then over the course of the next few holes, made another 3 bogeys. So I was sitting at 8 over with 3 holes to play. And I remember, I knew exactly where I was. I remember standing there thinking, you know what? 3 holes to play, 8 over. My index is 9.1, but because of the slope of the course, I was playing on a daily handicap of 11. Like, honestly, not sure the last time I played off an 11. So I'm thinking at 8 over, I've got 3 holes to play. I don't want to make 3 bogeys and come in, on handicap at 11 over. I want to try and, kind of come in under that. So if I par all 3, I'll be stoked. If I par 2, bogey 1, I'll still be happy.
Yep.
If I par 1, bogey 2, it's not the end of the world. I'll be a little bit disappointed. If I bogey all 3, I'll be disappointed. And fortunately, Andy Walker, I parred all 3, so I finished at +8.
Nice.
So 80 off the stick.
That's pretty good for your first outing.
I was really happy with that.
New South Wales Championship to actually, what did they have you playing off, 9?
My index was 9, but daily handicap was 11.
Oh, daily handicap was 11. Okay, so you played plus 3 shots under your handicap.
-3, yep.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
And what that actually, the scores have only just today dropped into the handicapping app. We'll come to that in due course. But it, as a differential, it's actually a 6.1.
Wow. Okay.
Given the scratch rating being a 73 and the slope rating of the course being quite high. So it comes in at a 6.1. So, nice. And interestingly, with, looking at my past 20 rounds, it's with my other, good rounds that have dropped out, down at sort of 5s and 4s. That's now my best round in my last 20.
Nice. So you've made your debut in a New South Wales Championship, and you've had your best round in your last 20 rounds.
Yes.
You must be pretty happy with that.
I was very happy with that. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. No, look, great round,
a good day.
Great debut.
It was a really good day.
Good one.
So how about you? How was round 1 for you?
Well, I think I mentioned as we were leaving the Airbnb in the morning, I did say to you that the nerves were just starting to raise their head because, been a little while since I played in New South Wales Championship, and I was a little bit nervous standing on the first tee. I got off to a reasonable start. I made a good solid par at the first. I hit an awful drive at the second. I hit it at about 50 meters right, and I had to basically pitch back out on the fairway. And
because I was going to say you can get lucky out on the right.
Yeah, I didn't get lucky. I just had to pitch it back out to the fairway and made bogey from there. Parred the. It was 15 because it was my third hole. I teed off 13, parred 15. Then I made bogey at 16. So I was 2 over through 4, and going, okay, well, I don't really want to continue on with this. So I wanted to sort of knuckle myself down. I knew there was a couple of birdie holes coming up. So I thought, okay, well, let's sort of get into it. Made a good par at 17. on 18, which is the birdie hole that I was thinking, hit a really, really poor drive and didn't have a clear shot to the green. So I hit my second out to the right, hit a pretty average pitch. The pin was in a bit of a tricky position from my angle, and ended up about sort of 10 meters, 30 feet past the hole, which I two putted for par, which sort of half felt like a bogey. Then walking from the 18th to the first, there's a path that goes around the back of the tee. And there are a few blokes standing on the practice putting green. And as I was sort of walking out the path, they're like, "Oh, hang on, hold it." I'm just like, "Wow, what's going on?" They're like, "Oh, there's a brown snake
Yes.
in the garden." So I just backtracked very quickly.
Yes, there was.
From the brown snake and up the other side of the tee box, and played the first from there. So on the first, which is a really long downhill par 3, I hit a 5-iron to about a meter. I hit like probably one of my best shots of the 36 holes. So 5-iron to about a meter and missed it.
Nice.
Which I wasn't overly happy with, as you can imagine. The second tough par 4, I made a bogey there, so I was 3 over at that point in time, and just felt as though I was sort of similar to how I was playing last Tuesday in that I just felt like I was fighting my driver, I was fighting my putter a little bit. It was a little bit loose, but I hadn't lost the round. If that makes sense. And I felt like I still had the opportunity to shoot something decent. So on the third hole, par 5, I hit a really, really good drive. Hit an okay second shot, but then hit a fairly poor pitch from the third onto the front of the green, 2-putted and made par. The next hole made a solid par. Hole after that, I made a solid par. Then on what hole are we up to? Onto the 7th, which I think I had about 6 holes to play. I made a good solid par, which is a long par 4. Hit a good drive, 7-iron into the middle of the green and made par. Then we come to the 8th hole, and the 8th hole again, the par 5, which if you hit a really good drive, you can actually make the green in 2. And it was sort of the second shot was playing downwind, and I sort of half thought about just taking an iron and hitting it up the left-hand side of the fairway. But I just thought, you know what? No, I need to take the bull by the horns, and I'm still only 3 over. I've just had a fairly good run of pars. And with 5 holes to play, I feel as though 8 was a birdie hole, 9 was a birdie hole. I could maybe get back somewhere close to even par. So I've probably hit my best drive of the tournament on the 8th. Absolutely smoked it up the left-hand side of the fairway, and it ended up I pulled out a 4-iron from a second. I was about 205 to the flag, but we were downwind, 205 meters, that is. And I've hit a really, really poor 4-iron left of the green.
Disappointing. To
a point where I couldn't actually hit a lob wedge onto the green and stop it short of the flag. So I had to run up a 9-iron. And because it's the Kaiku fairways, it landed and grabbed this 9-iron. I felt as though I landed the 9-iron exactly where I wanted to land it. But it just hit and grabbed and just stayed on the fringe of the green. I mean, it was close enough for me to putt, but I was really, really disappointed, given the guy who I was playing with, my playing partner, hit exactly the same shot, and it hit really hard and skipped over the green. Yeah. So we had 2 almost identical shots and very, very different results. So I sort of felt a little bit hard done by.
It's a bit of a turtle's back, though, that green as well.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So it can be a bit tricky depending on where you miss it. It can be a little bit difficult to get up and stop it and not have what your playing partner did and roll through.
Yeah, so anyway, I rolled my first putt, about 2 feet past. And then I just hit a really, really poor putt and horseshoed out from about 2 feet and walked off with 6, which was really frustrating, I must admit, going from a birdie hole 4-iron out to making it 6.
Yep.
So I had to have a couple of deep breaths walking to the 9th tee, being 4 over. And the great thing is I had a really good comeback and hit a great drive, a good pitch, made the putt for birdie on the 9th to get it back to 3 over. So I thought, okay, well, that's, good comeback, disappointed with the previous hole, but, I'm back to 3 over, 3 holes to play.
Yep.
I made a fairly sloppy bogey on 10. I hit my second shot. My second shot was really poor. I started to get the leaks to the right. And I don't know where they came from because my bad shot, as you know, is left. But I just started to get these shots that started leaking to the right. And my second shot leaked to the right. And again, a little bit of a sort of turtleback green.
It is.
And I just didn't get up and down. I hit a reasonable chip to maybe 2.5 meters and hit a fairly poor putt. I felt as though when I was putting, all my putts were going left off the putter face. So I just didn't have any confidence on the green. On the 11th, my second last hole, I hit a really, really poor 7-iron into the front bunker, which was, there's only 2 bunkers on the course, both of them short of the 11th green.
I went
in one of them. Hit a reasonably good bunker shot out to about a meter and a half and missed that. Just pulled it again, just kept straight left off the putter face. So 2 bogeys in a row, which I was seething walking to the 12th tee. Again, hit a fairly poor drive off 12, which went into sort of the tree line, caught the trees and dropped down. Still had a shot to the green, punched a 5-iron to the left-hand side of the green. It was just off the fringe. Had a putt of probably 30 feet, of which I probably hit it, would have been a little bit more than halfway.
Nice. Nice.
So then I had this tricky little sort of probably about a 12 feet sort of downhill left to right putt to make par, of which I actually hit a really, really good putt, shaved the edge to about a foot past. And I was walking up to the putt, I was just going, another 3 putt. I can't believe that I finished bogey, bogey, bogey. This putt that was a foot, I was actually standing on someone else's line, so I sort of just tried to sort of massage my stance so I didn't stand on my playing partner's line.
Uh-oh.
And in the process, I missed the 1 foot putt.
Oh man.
Should have marked it. One of those stupid things that you do that you just, my head wasn't in the right space. It was only a foot, and I was standing on my playing partner's line, which I was uncomfortable, and I missed it. So you can imagine my walk back up the hill from the 12th after finishing bogey, bogey, double.
Oh no. And it's straight back up the hill too, to the clubhouse the whole way.
The 7 over 79.
Well, there's a lot of good stuff in there though.
Look, as I said, it was very similar. I felt fairly similar to how I played last Tuesday in that I felt as though I was keeping the score together and not having a bad scoring round, but I just felt like I was fighting my game. I was fighting my swing. I was fighting my putting stroke. Just didn't feel comfortable, but just wanted to get through it, grit my teeth and keep making pars and just keep making one after the other. Only made 1 birdie throughout the round, which again, only making 1 birdie is pretty disappointing, but that's the round, I guess.
It is the round. You reminded me of a couple of things though. Our friend the snake behind the first tee box, I had a similar experience when I was walking up and the guys that were sitting behind were, whoa, there's a snake in the garden. I went, okay. And as you know, I quite like my animals. So I wanted to have a little bit of a look. So I did go along the path where he was to try and have a little peek into the garden bed. And I did see him in there as well, and he had a bit of a scurry and a rustle, and fortunately went further into the garden bed because it made me realise that where I was also hard up against a retaining wall.
Yeah.
And there was nowhere to go. So, anyway.
And browns, while, I mean, blacks will, slide the other way. Browns, if
when
they're
cornered, absolutely. Yep. It was not the smartest piece of work.
Yeah.
Nevertheless.
You don't want to mess anyone who's not from Australia when you come to Australia.
If it's brown
snake,
leave it alone.
Do not mess with a brown snake.
Yep.
Blacks, look, I've seen plenty of blacks in my time. They're pretty common on the golf course. The red belly black snake. Browns, first time I've actually seen a brown snake in the wild.
Oh, really?
Seen plenty at reptile parks and those sorts of things, but first time I've actually seen a brown in the wild. And you know what? I'm happy with one.
Come to Dubbo. Plenty.
No, I don't.
Plenty.
Don't really want to be seeing another one, but I'm sure at some stage I probably will.
The thing is, the red-bellied black snake is a predator of the brown snake. So if you see the red bellies around, then you're in pretty good shape because they'll keep the browns away.
Okay.
So anyway, random snake trivia for you, ladies and gentlemen. The other one that you reminded me of was the 11th hole of par 3 with the only 2 bunkers on the course, which is unusual for a course of the quality that Parks is.
It is.
And I do think, in fairness, that they could improve that course with some bunkering around some of the greens, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But it didn't really lose a lot for not having it at the same time.
No, I don't think it did either.
So, nevertheless, I too found that bunker. Unfortunately, Andy Walker, it was with my second shot because my tee shot on that par 3, I'd missed left, and it's a very narrow chute of trees that pretty much just hug about the width of the green the whole way up the fairway. So if you miss either side, you're going to get grabbed by the trees, which it did, and it came down. And unfortunately, I was by the trunk of a tree under with low overhanging branches. My only option really was to punch out deliberately into that bunker.
Yeah.
However, I did get up and down out of that bunker, Andy Walker.
Well, I mean, my bunker shot was actually good enough for me to get up and down, but unfortunately my putting stroke at that point was not good enough for me to make the putt on the other end.
Oh, look, it happens. That's golf. But anyhow, so 79. Look, 79 is still a good round of golf. I think in tournament conditions, breaking 80. I know off to you want to go better than that, but
really disappointed with it.
Yeah,
I have to say. Yeah, my expectation of my game at this point in time is a lot higher than that.
Even so, I think there'd be plenty of pilgrims out there that would say I'd take 79 in tournament conditions off the plates on a scratch rated 73 golf course. I understand your situation, but I still think don't beat yourself up too badly.
Okay. I still will. You know that, don't you?
Okay. Yep. So, had a fantastic function that night, hosted by Parks Golf Club.
Yep.
And I was very impressed. Special guest came for dinner. The Deputy Mayor of Park Shire Council,
yes.
Marg.
Marg.
Can't remember Marg's last name. Inspirational words, though, that Marg gave about golf, her experiences with golf, which were limited, and her views on the game, mostly through the eyes of her husband,
who's a 26 marker, but apparently was going to get some lessons.
Yeah. It's cracking stories. Great anecdotes. Well done, Mark. Oh, dear. Anyway, it was definitely a good night, and I would absolutely say a huge thank you to Parks Golf Club, and in particular the members of Parks Golf Club, because they did make us feel particularly welcome. We're at the local members table. I'm not quite sure how that happened. I guess through our connection with Brownie, everybody's mate.
Yeah, well, because when we rocked up at the dinner, I mean, Brownie was sitting out the front having a drink, so we just started chatting, and we just followed him to the locals table. I mean, I'm not sure it was whether we were invited or whether we just rocked up and sat down.
I think we're invited. I'd like to think we're invited. So anyway, it was a lot of fun. It was a good night. It was
Couple of
enjoyable.
reds drunk.
Yeah, not much. A little bit. Just
I was designated driver, by the way. Very intentional, because I knew potentially that could get me out of a lot of trouble with an 8 o'clock tee off time.
There was never going to be a lot of trouble. I was sitting on a perennially half full glass as Brownie successfully made his way through 2 bottles of Philip Shaw's finest. He did well. He did very well. Yeah. Better than some of the other young blokes that were there. But nevertheless,
I think he's had a fair bit of practice, though.
I reckon you might be right. Yep. But no, it was an excellent night. It was a lot of fun. We had a good laugh, good chat, good banter.
Yeah. No, it was a great night. Yeah.
So it was, and that's one of those things. In all honesty, that's one of those things that makes these sorts of weekends so worthwhile. Is getting the chance to just get to know a few people that you wouldn't know otherwise, and we've all got
the camaraderie at these events is it's really cool. You just get to know some really, really good guys. You're on the golf course and it's serious. You're trying to beat each other, but you get off the golf course and have a beer, have a yak, and
it was good. Time. It was good. It was really good. So anyhow, we made our way home. Good night's sleep. Very early morning the next morning. I think. Yeah,
it was
up at 5:30 or something like that. So that we could.
We set same plan of attack. 8 a.m. tee off time. Shotgun start. Getting there at 6:30.
Aggressive, but again, so good. And my word. Wasn't Parks Golf Club looking spectacular in the relatively early morning? As we arrived,
they had the rollers out. For the greens, which we saw that and went, ooh, these greens could be a bit quicker than yesterday.
Could be a bit slick. I did drop a little video of that on the Facebook page actually for some of the pilgrims that were following along. Okay. And yes, that was very much a case of we thought that they were pretty quick on day 1, but on day 2 they were lightning.
And it would be fairly remiss of us to not mention what the scores were on day 1. There were 2 7-unders.
This is a good point.
Yeah, we at that stage, I think neither of us were really in a position to win the country championships, but some great scoring, and they 7-under was a course record. As well.
Yes. So course record
great scores
broken twice on day 1. And that was by Cooper Giddings out of Dubbo, young fella, 16-year-old, big future. Who was the other 7-under? Was it Ethan from Kiama, or was it wasn't. It was another guy, I think.
No, it was Andrew Kirkman.
That's it. Yeah. Andrew Kirkman up Coffs Way, I think. Mid-North Coast.
Kempsey, defending champion.
Yes, that's right. Unbelievable golf.
Yeah, phenomenal golf.
Unbelievable golf. And as a matter of fact, it was talked about at the dinner after day 1 that the greenkeeper was not particularly pleased with a couple of 7-unders being punched out, so he was going to have greenkeeper's revenge on day 2.
Yeah. And, in fact, 1 under was coming a tie for 13th.
That's crazy in an amateur event.
It was just
quality
unbelievably good golf.
It's quality golf. Whereabouts were you in the field after day 1, Andy Walker?
I was about halfway. I was around the sort of 60s-ish, I think halfway.
1 shot back from you, I was in a tie for 80th.
Okay.
Off the stick. But worth noting, in the net event, I was in 9th. I was in the top 10.
Top 10.
After day 1. That was exciting. It was very exciting.
Didn't realise there was a net event.
There most certainly was, and I think you were well aware. I was in the top 10, you weren't. So we move on to day 2. So day 2 with the rankings, we were in consecutive groups. This was exciting. So Andy Walker teeing off. We were teeing off the same tee box on 12. Andy Walker's group teeing off, and then my group teeing off straight behind. So it was an opportunity to observe a little bit of each other's golf throughout the day, which was, I think, was kind of cool. So, I don't know, you're in the group in front, so maybe you tell us how you went.
Yeah. So I felt as though I got off to a solid start. Had par, 12 and 13. 14, which on Saturday I'd blocked my tee shot about 50 metres right. Felt as though I hadn't spent enough time in that part of the world, so I did
you went back again?
the same thing.
Nice. Nice.
This time, though, I did actually
Rinse
have a shot
and
underneath the pine trees, of which I hit my 3 utility iron almost along the ground to the front of the green.
Wow. That's golf.
It quite literally, I had 133 metres to the pin, and I reckon 130 of it was along the ground. So, yeah, very, very low 3 utility. Then I proceeded to 3-putt from the fringe.
Nobody likes
very, very, very disappointing.
It's frustrating.
However, made a couple of pars in a row from there. Parred 15, 16, 17. 18, short par 5. Hit a really, really good drive. 6 iron just short of the green, and almost holed my chip and made the 1-foot putt for birdie. So I'd sort of got back to square after 6 holes. So I was pretty happy with that. The first, which is the long par 3, was slightly into the wind. So I took one more club than what I did on Saturday and hit a punch 4 iron, but didn't quite get it high enough. And there's that tree, the tree sort of about 30 metres short of the green, which is a really, really big gum tree. I just caught the top branch of that, and it basically came straight down 30 metres short of the green. Hit quite a good pitch up to about 2.5 metres and just misread the putt, which missed short right and tapped in for bogey. Made a bogey on the second. So again, 2 in a row. On the third, I made a fairly solid par. Then on the fourth, the par 3, I hit a really, really good 7 iron into the wind to probably 2.5 metres and probably hit my best part of the day. Never looked like going anywhere else but in the middle of the cup. So I sort of got myself back to 1 over. And I was going, okay, well, if I can, just continue this momentum, I'll be, I'll be pretty happy. Made par up the 5th, made a good solid par up the 6th. Then on 7, I hit probably my biggest cut of the day, which started right and was going hard right. However, it hit a tree and bounced back onto the fairway. Oof. So I felt fairly lucky. I was still like 205 meters to the green, of which I hit my 3 utility just short and hit a fairly poor chip, which ended up about 3 meters short and missed the putt. So made bogey to go to 2 over. Then the par 5 8th, which, as you know from yesterday, from Saturday, I'd hit a pretty good drive and made bogey from 4 iron out. I'd just hit 2 fairly big cuts with my driver, and what's right on the fairway?
It's water.
It's water. So I really didn't want to go into the water, so I took a 5 iron off the tee.
Wow.
And I hit a 5 iron 171 meters up the fairway, the left-hand side of the fairway. I then hit my 3 utility exactly the same as what I'd hit my previous drives, just right up over the gum trees. And I was a little bit blocked off for my shot to the green. So I just basically ran an 8 iron up onto the green to about 3 meters and 2 putted for par. So I ended up with a better score than what I'd done the previous day through not being as aggressive as what I'd been. So I don't know if there's a lesson in that, but that was an interesting little experience.
Mm.
Up 9, which was my birdie hole from the previous day, I hit a really, really bad drive into the right trees, although I had a shot over the trees, which I hit my gap wedge, and I actually thought I had a really good gap wedge, but it ended up short of the green. And then I hit a pitch, which I was really, really happy with, landed it exactly where I wanted to land it, and it just hit and stopped dead, about maybe 3 meters, sort of, short of the pin. And I actually hit quite a good putt, but it rolled over the lip and I made bogey. So I was really disappointed with making bogey walking off the ninth, because I felt like that was a birdie hole.
Mm.
Then on 10, my second last hole, exactly the same as my drive on the previous hole, just hit this big cut out to the right-hand side. And this was a dogleg left, so it left me a 6-iron into the green, hit a really, really poor 6-iron to the left-hand side, just off the left-hand side. A really tricky sort of just a chip and run, because again, it was up a bit of a slope, but then all downhill and off the other side of the green. And I hit a really, really good 6-iron chip and run to probably 2.5 meters, and left it about an inch right in the center of the hole. So again, tapped in for another bogey. And by this stage, I was seething again, just another, finish to the round of, a couple of bogeys. So 11, the par 3, last hole, I'd hit a 7-iron the day before, and it just sort of, I didn't hit a great 7-iron the day before, but it just sort of held up in the wind, which you can't really feel from the tee.
No, and it was into the wind again on day 2.
Yeah, landed in the front bunker. So I thought, all right, well, it's because I'd hit a 7-iron during the practice round as well. And, felt as though 7-iron was the right club in still conditions. Now, I couldn't really feel any wind, but I knew it was, there was a reasonable wind starting to pick up. So I took a club extra in a 6-iron and just absolutely flushed it. It was probably 10 feet right of the flag, and I was like, this is good. This is really, really good. And it sailed over the back of the green, hit the downslope, and ended up about 20 meters through the green, which left me with just an impossible
Yeah, because it was
chip.
a back pin.
Yeah, back pin, and up the slope to then a
Downhill.
back to front.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I couldn't even get my 58 really onto the green with. I don't think I could have stopped it. So I ran an 8-iron just up the slope down. It was probably about maybe 15 to 18 feet past. Again, hit quite a good putt, but just sort of shaved the left-hand side of the hole and tapped in for a bogey finish. Oh, so bogey finish for 5 over.
What could have been, Andy Walker?
Yeah, I must admit I was gutted walking off that last hole, the 11th green. I obviously had 4 over in the last 3 the previous day, 3 over in the last 3 on Sunday. So effectively 7 over in my last 6 holes out of the 12 over that I'd had over the 36. It was very disappointing, I must admit. And to be honest with you, I'd hit a couple of poor shots, but I also didn't feel as though I'd played that badly. I still felt as though I'd hit a couple of good shots. Yeah, I'd hit a couple of block cuts with my tee shots, but I'd hit on 9. I felt like my second shot was a good shot. And then my tee shot on 11, I felt as though was a really good shot. And I just feel as though I just, the rub of the green just didn't fall my way, which was pretty disappointing. But anyway, walked off with a aggregate score of 12 over.
Which is not a bad effort.
If you say so.
I did say so. And I'm sure many of the pilgrims will agree.
I must admit I was pretty gutted by the end of it, and took me a little while to needed to just go for a bit of a walk off on my own, just to get back into the right headspace to be able to come back and finish off my scorecard and have a drink with my playing partners afterwards.
No, that's fair enough. Totally fair enough. So
what about yourself, Mr. Hinks?
So day 2, as I mentioned, day 2, the atmosphere was considerably different to day 1. I went from the chattiest group on the golf course to the single most introverted group of golfers that I've ever had the experience of playing around with.
Yeah.
What was also quite interesting to watch was that my 2 much younger playing partners that were 16 and 17 years of age, respectively, both very, very talented golfers, and I'm sure will do very well in tournaments in the future. Both of whom seemed to have an impression of their own ability that they should hit every shot like Tiger Woods, and that any shot that did not pan out perfectly was met with a barrage of expletives and complaint. And I will say this, I was tempted. One of them had his dad caddying around, and I was obviously never going to do this, but I was tempted at one point to suggest that maybe they take a look at John Sherman's 4 Foundations of Golf and learn a little bit about acceptance and not getting so wound up about everything on the golf course, because I quite frankly think that they will be better for it when they grow up. What I did notice, though, is that Dad was almost winding his son up at one point with comments like, "That's another birdie putt you've left short."
Oh, yes.
Probably what you don't need to hear. So, that was an interesting watch on the way around. And, the 4th member of the group, he was a local. We was playing off 1, so he was probably close to a scratch marker anyway. Quality golfer. But the thing was, Andy Walker, you can't get away from this. Like I was looking at it saying I could add up the age of any 2 of the 3 other playing partners in my group, and they were younger than me combined. What also was a fact was that they all hit the ball 40 to 50 metres longer than I did off the tee.
Yes.
And that,
didn't sit well?
Not so much that. It's a different game,
Yeah, it is.
And I'm hitting 5-iron or 6-iron into greens, and they're hitting 9-irons and wedges, and it's tough. It's tough to compete. That sort of thing. But what was interesting, so like you, we teed off on 12, made a solid par on 12, which was good. Hit a good drive. Actually hit probably the better drive out of the group. Was the only one on the fairway. They were all up the right side. We all had a shot at the green though. Made the green, solid 2-putt. That was good. Then we played 13, which is the par 5. And again, I hit a nice drive up the fairway. For me, it was an excellent drive. I'm 40 metres short of everybody else, so again, I'm playing first. And I hit my second whilst your group was still putting on the green, knowing that there's no chance I'm getting there. I was 260 metres out still.
So I actually did see you hit that second shot. I was watching from the green.
Yeah, so I hit a pretty good 5-wood. It was probably about 50 metres short, whilst the rest of my group waited for the green to clear before they proceeded to, or miss the green anyway. And then we got up there, and you did see my 3rd shot as well, Andy Walker.
I did.
Where I very nicely stuck a wedge to about 2.5 feet. And made the putt for birdie. So I was 1 under after 2. And that was exciting, as everyone else in the group made par. And then we had a conversation on the next tee box with one of the guys that sort of said, wow, it's real eye-opener playing with 3 people that hit the ball so far, because just the temptation to try and keep up and overswing that I need to fight. To which his response was, well, if you keep playing from 50 metres back and sticking it inside ours on your second shots, then we're really going to have the bleeps at the end of the day. I thought, well, that's an interesting approach. But anyway, thanks for that.
I might add it at this point in time, given you'd shot 8 over on the Saturday, I'd shot 7 over, started par, you started par birdie.
We're even.
We're even
Mm.
through 20 holes of the championship.
It's pretty amazing. Hence why I was saying that you have been playing well. Yeah. So anyway, made another par. Then we got to the 15th, that short par 4 up the hill with the toilet block. And unfortunately, I hit my drive right, so I was blocked out by the toilet block to the green. Couldn't see the target. Hit a wedge a little too far. It went over. And I was stuck in this kind of wet area from where all of the sprinklers had been on in the morning. It was quite mushy over there.
Noticed that. I'd actually noticed that on the previous day, on the Saturday, and had sort of mental note to myself, don't hit it there.
Don't go there. I went there. It cost me a double, which was disappointing. Yeah, to double that hole hurt a little bit. But anyhow, we came back from there. The 16th, which is that tricky long par 4.
Yep.
Pin on day 2 was at the back.
Top tier.
It was on the top tier. Yeah. Hit a pretty good drive up the right side. I had a 6-iron in to get the distance to get to the top tier. I actually hit it slightly past the flag, and I was on that very steep slope behind.
Yeah, that's a tough little shot you've got there.
It was nasty. And I thought, there is no way I can chip this.
Yep.
You know, any slightly imperfect contact, and that's through the green and back 20 metres down the fairway.
Yep.
So I literally feathered it with the Texas wedge, and it rolled down to about 6 inches.
Nice.
Which was an easy tap-in par, which was nice. So we then went to 17, the short par 3. We were into the wind. I hit what I thought was the perfect tee shot, but unfortunately came up short. And then I decided to putt on rather than chip on, just because of the lie, the ground that was still a bit sort of puddingy, but a poor putt, and that cost me a bogey, unfortunately, which was a shame. So we went to 18, par 5, hit a good drive, pulled my 5-wood, unfortunately, so I was in the trees on the right-hand side. Not that far from the green, but quite blocked out, didn't have a full swing. So I had to bunt sort of a 6-iron just along the ground to the front of the green. It was a front pin. Again, took the Texas wedge and putted it up with a fair bit of speed, and it hit the flagstick and just didn't drop, bobbled out to about 6 inches for a tap-in par. So that was adventurous.
Would it have gone in if the flagstick was out?
It would have gone over the green and probably out of bounds.
So it had a fair bit of speed then.
It was steaming.
Yeah.
So no, it wouldn't have gone that far, but it would have been well past. It was not going in. The flagstick saved it.
Right.
No doubt. So then we get to 1, which is the par 3 down the hill. Yep. 2 trees, 195 metres, I think it was playing, so it was quite long. I missed the green left, and Andy Walker, I had one of those horrible scraggy lies, where you've got the grass and no grass and the ball sitting down on the dirt, but there's grass either side of it.
Yeah, yeah.
So unsurprisingly, I thinned a wedge over the other side, and then kind of...
And that was a tough
and then I was short-sighted,
well.
So I kind of only just got it on the green and, made double, which was disappointing. Then on the second hole, tough hole, made a par, hit a good drive, good approach,
nice.
2 good putts. But then I think I had a string of bogeys. I went bogey, 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 double, bogey.
Oh.
I feel like I wasn't playing bad golf. Things just weren't quite falling in the right direction. Putts weren't quite dropping. Bounces weren't quite bouncing the right way. Like, for example, the double, which was on the stroke 1 hole, the 7th, the 430-metre par 4, where you'd sliced your drive. Well, I blocked mine out to the left. I thought it was going to get out over the trees. It's obviously caught the top of one of the trees and sort of dropped down. So it was.
I did see where you were,
and then. And it would have been potentially a chance to get back over the trees towards the green, but the only tree that was on the other hole coming up the other way was right in my line. So I went, all right, well, I can either try and, hit a big high hooking 5-wood to go out left and come back around over the trees. Like the chances of success was so slim.
Yeah, yeah.
So I went, no, course management. I'm going to take my 6-iron, punch it through the trees back onto the fairway, give myself a chance. So I did that, and of course I hit the trunk of one of those trees square and bounced back to the left-hand side of the trees. And then I hit a great 6-iron back over the trees, but the damage was done, and I made double, which was quite disappointing. So anyhow, we went to the 8th then, which is that par 5. This time I hit my tee shot further left and avoided the water. Again, hit a 5-wood up short of the green. I was probably 50 metres out. The pin's on the left, and I thought, aim at the centre of the green, do the right thing. So I did that, pulled it slightly and had a little bit of hook spin, skew spin to the right, and because of the turtle back, it then just trickled off the right-hand side. I couldn't quite get up and down, so I made bogey. So I was again then staring at 3 holes to play. And I'd spent my handicap shots. So I'm like, all right, I need to play this. I need to par in. So I parred 9, which was good. I bogeyed 10, unfortunately, which was disappointing. And then on the 11th, which was my last hole, that par 3 with the only bunkers on the course, I too took a 6-iron, Andy Walker. I didn't quite flush it, but I hit it centre of the green, pin high. And that putt is a little bit of a left to righter, but at the hole it then starts to go downhill away from you.
Yeah, yep.
And it scared me to death.
Yeah.
So I hit my putt about halfway. And then I had a 6-footer to make par with a big left to righter downhill. And I dribbled it in the front door for a nice par to walk off with what was, in some respects, a disappointing 84. But in some respects, still breaking 85 on both days. I think if you had given that to me before we teed off on day 1, I would have bitten your hand off, to be perfectly honest, with that golf course.
So playing off 11, you've had 80, 84, so 162. So you've broken your handicap by 2.
Correct.
Your daily handicap by 2.
Correct. And
in your first ever New South Wales Country Championship.
Yeah, which is why I was extremely happy
on
with
a championship golf course.
Yeah. And even better than that, Andy Walker, on the net leaderboard, I jumped a place to finish in a tie for 8th.
Nice. Top 10.
Top 10 finish. Net. But still.
I didn't finish in the top 10 in net.
No, I've got the top 10 here. I don't see you there. So no,
I did bring it up. I think I came a tie for 59th.
Which is pretty similar to where you finished overall in the scratch field.
I finished a tie for 57th.
So pretty similar.
In the scratch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, I think it was a successful day out. I was quite happy with it. I feel like I probably got a bit physically tired, which was potentially part of the reason for the little string of bogeys of just sort of semi-sloppy bogeys. But, you know, the goals that I'd set at the start of the tournament, as we'd talked about, I really wanted to just fully soak up the experience of playing in a tournament of that level. I wanted to stay in every shot for both rounds and not eject and not throw it away. You know,
did you feel as though you wanted to look at the leaderboard throughout the round?
Not really on the second day, because I'd leaked a few shots, so I didn't really have any expectation that I was going to be there, and I didn't look at the leaderboard. And to be perfectly honest, when we finished the round, and I did look at the leaderboard, and I saw that I was still in the top 10 net, I was astonished.
Okay,
I was not expecting that, so that was nice, because I thought that I'd probably thrown that away, just with that sort of string of bogeys on through the second 9. Yeah, I mean, I feel like there was a lot of solid golf in there. And when I look at my scorecards on both days, the back 9 I'd played in 3 over 39. The front 9 had a few difficulties on day 2, but I think all in all, it was pretty solid. I was very happy with my ball striking across the board. Putting still remained quite good. My short game was better on day 1 than it was on day 2. But I think that's that's still just grooving some of those things in and a little bit of practice. And also it's a little bit of bad luck with some lies here and there as well. But so I don't want to kind of get too upset about that, because it was one of those things. This was the first time, I think, for quite some time, well, since they'd redone the course, that they were not playing preferred lies on the course. So that there's, you can read into that what you want, but there were a few iffy lies out there that we got. Not many, in fairness. The course was in great nick, but there were a few. Yeah, definitely a few.
So did you didn't keep stats throughout?
No, I couldn't, because ShotScope didn't have the updated course, so there was no ability to use the watch and track stats, because it couldn't match it to the new layout. So I don't know.
Okay. Well, fortunately, Arcos did. So I did keep my stats throughout the round, although I did have a little moment on the first hole, or my first hole, which was the 12th, on day 2, where I pulled out my little Arcos device, Bluetooth device, and realized that I hadn't actually put it on the charger the night before, although the battery was still 75%. And it lasted 36 holes, so I was pretty grateful that
that's good.
That I was able to get around both rounds. Now, just before I talk about the stats, how I felt about my round, I felt as though I drove the ball quite poorly, and I felt as though I putted quite poorly. I felt as though my approach play was reasonably good, and I was pretty happy with my short game. To be honest with you, I did feel as though, and certainly practicing with the tour tempo and getting that 2-to-1 and the acceleration through the ball has just done wonders for my short game. Right. So I felt, and in fact, in round 1, there were a few times where I putted from the fringe and just felt as though I wasn't getting anywhere, the speed that I wanted, or wasn't getting the result that I was after. So I started actually chipping from those same positions in round 2 and was getting up and down. So that sort of says a lot about just how far my short game has come over the last 6 weeks since I first purchased the Tour Tempo app. So I've been pretty happy with that. So in day 1, 7 over, breaking it down to the 4 different areas, my driving, and this obviously is in comparing to a scratch golfer, driving was minus 0.9, which is better than what I expected, I have to admit. My approach play was plus 1.8, which I think is, I hit some really good approach shots. So I think that's about fair. My short game, minus 0.4, which, is probably pretty accurate, because I didn't really rely too much on my short game in day 1. It was more day 2 where I felt as though my short game was quite good. And then putting was minus 4.3.
Wow.
And I think that's pretty accurate, because, I just felt all at sea. Felt like I had a snake in my hand.
Yeah, wow.
When I was standing over it on the greens. So then in day 2, again, breaking it down. My driving was plus 0.1,
Pretty good.
which I was very, very surprised at because, again, I felt as though I drove it quite poorly. My approach play was minus 0.9. My short game was 0.0.
Right.
And my putting was minus 1.1.
Okay.
So again, the weakest part of my game was my putting, and I think that's pretty accurate.
Mm.
So it was. I don't know. I still haven't processed the end of the round. I've just sort of come home and got back into work and all the rest. So I haven't sort of given it too much thought. Over the next sort of week, I'll start sort of thinking about it and maybe trying to figure out what happened. But sort of similar to you, especially on day 2, I didn't feel as though I did a lot wrong. In fact, I felt as though I hit a couple of really good shots, and then just felt I was a bit hard done by with a couple of others, like the 6 on 11 and leaving it an inch short, dead in the center on 10. So I don't feel as though I did a huge amount wrong, but there's still a lot to work on, and trying to get especially my downswing a lot shallower. That's the key thing that I really think I need to get right in order to get some consistency and for my swing to perform as I want it to at the end of the round.
No, I think that's fair enough. Another perspective on the rounds for you. Have you had a look on the Golf Australia handicapping app to see if that has shifted your handicap?
Yes, I did. And that was because they didn't post the rounds immediately. That only came on today.
After I emailed Emmanuel Avaranis.
Oh, right. Okay, there you go.
Because he's caught up down at Murray Downs for the New South Wales Open.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So, anyway, we had a bit of a chat about the New South Wales Open, which is a story for another day. But no, it's a story for right now because we were talking about Cooper Giddings having won this tournament.
Yeah.
Obviously gets a start in the New South Wales Open, but also the young guy from Kiama, Ethan, who he actually won Monday qualifying, so he also will be playing in the New South Wales Open. So there's 2 reps from the Country Championships.
And it would also be remiss of us not to mention that the course record that was set on Saturday was actually broken on Sunday.
Yes.
With a 64 by Jai Halls from Mollymook Golf Club, my old stomping ground.
Yes. Seriously, we've played in a tournament, a 2-round tournament, in which the course record was broken 3 times. Yep. That is ridiculous.
Yes. And interestingly, talking about Jai Halls from Mollymook, my father, Ted from Mollymook, actually plays golf with Jai Hall's grandfather.
Well, there you go.
It's not such a big world, is it?
No, it's not. Especially country golf in New South Wales. But anyway.
Exactly.
But no, quality golf. Jai, unfortunately, made for him a disappointing even par round on day 1. Otherwise, he would have been very much in contention.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to shoot a course record second round, and I mean, he finished 3 shots behind Cooper Giddings. I mean, that says a lot about the quality of golf that was down there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But speaking of quality of golf, coming back to your handicap index, Andy Walker, what's happened?
Oh, yes. Yep. Yes.
Ooh, what's happened?
I thought you were telling the story. I started the weekend at 2.3. So I did, and I probably should pull up the Golf Australia app while this is why you should have told the story.
Okay. I've got it here in front of me if you
I'm not ready for it. No, I'm good.
You good?
It's up now. So yeah, first round wasn't a flag round, but the second round, the 5 over par 77 was a flag round with a gross differential of 3.5, which then reduced my handicap from 2.3 to 2.1, which is actually the lowest that I've been. It was 2.2 after I shot that under par round earlier in the year, but yeah, now on 2.1, which is the lowest I've been for 30 years.
Congratulations. That's fantastic.
Yeah, look, it's pleasing to see I guess the development of my game over the last 12 months, and that I can go from, well, what was it, 5 down to 2.1. I mean, that's pretty satisfying, and I would, if you had given that to me 12 months ago when we started on this pilgrimage, I would have taken that every single day of the week. So yeah, I can't be too disappointed with my year and first 12 months of the missing links when, I've more than halved my handicap.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What about yourself, Mr. Hinks?
Well, I think I mentioned that the first round came in at a differential of 6.1, which rated it as my best round in my last 20.
Yes.
And I went into the weekend at 9.1. I'd blown out gradually from a low, which I had during one round of 8.0, and it crept up as some good rounds were dropping out. And I hadn't really replaced anything because I was having quite a few rounds that were sort of hovering around that 11 and 12 mark. But then, that 6.1 dropped it back down to 8.4. And then the second round actually was a differential of 9.6. And that kicked out another 11-ish differential round out of my top 8. So that dropped me down a further 0.2 down to 8.2.
Nice.
So back down to 8.2, back down in the low 8s.
And that's pretty close to around the low of where you've been, isn't it?
Well, it is. I mean, I've been at a low only for one round of 8.0.
Yeah, because I know you were 8.1 when you entered the New South Wales Country Championships.
Yep. And then it blew out to 8.9, 9.1, and then to get it back down into the low 8s. What's good is the first time that I got down to the low 8s, that was a result of having one really low score in there, which had given me the +1 or the -1 additional. When you beat your index by 5 shots, you get an extra shot chopped. This time it doesn't involve that. It's legitimately through having 8 solidly single-digit rounds in there that count. My next round, I've got a 7.2 dropping out. So obviously the aim of the exercise would be to replace that with one equal or better. But then I've got 3 rounds before anything else drops out. So I think realistically my game has improved. Just even having a couple of coaching sessions with Jake has ironed out a few simple technique things, which has definitely led to better and more consistent ball striking. So I feel if I can continue to work on some of these little short game issues, that there's definitely a potential for that number to drop into the 7s for the very first time, and who knows, maybe even the 6s, you just don't know.
Nice.
But I feel comfortable that my best is yet to come, Andy Walker.
Okay, nice. Well, the other good thing of where I'm at with my handicap is this is the first time ever in the modern handicapping system of my handicap that I have had all 20 rounds within a 12-month period.
Ah, yes.
It's always been. The average is probably about 2 years. I'll have a tendency to play about once a month, and then over Christmas have a little bit of a break. But yeah, this is the first time I've had all 20 rounds within 12 months, which I think is a bit of an achievement as well.
Yep, mine is 2. I agree. And that means that all 20 rounds have been during the course of the Missing Links Golf Show, which means that we have completely turned over our handicaps during the course of this podcast. So where they sit at the moment, Pilgrims, you've heard every single step of the way.
Yep.
So there you go. So no, it's good. It's going the right way. I loved it. I really enjoyed the weekend. I really enjoyed the environment. I really enjoyed the atmosphere. Got the juices flowing in a way that just regular weekend golf never can. So yeah, I feel like it's pretty addictive.
Yeah. Yeah. And as I said to you, I think I said to you after Saturday that you will never view club golf the same. Like,
yeah,
club totally golf different. is great. It's a great opportunity to practice and to play in a club competition, to test your game, in competition, in a competition environment. But there's nothing like going to another golf course and playing under championship conditions in a stroke event to really test yourself.
Absolutely. And knowing that you're turning up at the golf course that's hosting the event, wanting to put its best and toughest foot forward for all of the competitors that are turning up.
Yeah.
Which Parks absolutely did. And I'd say, an enormous kudos to Parks Golf Club and the two greenkeepers.
Two greenkeepers there.
Absurd.
Like,
it's absurd.
That is just ridiculous. Like, that is to put on an event like that and have the golf course in that condition with two blokes is just
they must be
mind-blowing.
They must be working 40-hour days to achieve what they did. No, it was fantastic. 100%. So well done to them. Well done to Golf New South Wales for a great event. Congratulations to Cooper Giddings for winning it. And congratulations to Jai Halls on his course record, taking it over from the boys on day one. But all in all, absolutely brilliant weekend. Loved every minute of it. Can't wait to do it again. I think, unfortunately, we're going to have to wait till March for the New South Wales Senior Amateur for our next major tournament. But, that was a lot of fun.
I was actually looking at the see if there's any senior events towards the end of the year. And there is one in a couple of weeks' time. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to it or not. So I'll play that by ear and see how we go.
No, fair enough. Andy Walker, it's been a long one. It's been a long one, but there was a lot to get through. So, Pilgrims, thanks for hanging in there, and thank you for your support. Those of you that reached out over the weekend to keep us going, that was awesome. It was really, really cool.
Yeah, and what I would say, Pilgrims, if you do get a chance to get out there and play in a championship event, because there's nothing else like it. There's nothing like getting out there to test your game and getting under that sort of that pressure, that environment of a championship event. There's I know Steve loves it. I love it, and
it's the best.
Yeah, it's the best.
And it's nice to find that out about yourself as well by going through that, because you just don't know how you're going to cope with that. But it was good to actually come through and do okay.
Yep.
So I'm happy with that. All right, Andy Walker, I think we're there.
We are. Only one thing left to do.
And what is that?
Rock out, Pilgrims.
Thanks for listening to us today. We love hearing from our Pilgrims, so please reach out to us through any of the links in the show notes. We know golf is hard, so we hope we can help you shoot better scores and inspire you to keep trying. Rock on, Pilgrims.